Hello, friends of the finer things like Friedmans and Plexis. And when you combine the Plexi and the Friedman, then you get a Friedman Plex. Done! Video is finished! Now, you want to see this whole thing with everything, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to go take it out of the box. That's the first thing we have to do. And also let you know that this is sponsored by Friedman in the sense that this baby is staying in my studio. No money exchanges hands, but the amp stays here because I needed a Plexi for my pedal videos. And you know what? A Plexi it is. So, here we go. That was a box and an amp coming out of it that didn't tell you anything. So we're going to take some really beautiful product shots and some sounds that tells you a little bit more. Let's take a pretty guitar, Tom James's Elevated Jam Tracks, which you should go and subscribe to, and noodle a bit and just see what it can do. That's happening now. Next in these videos, we will talk about features. It's easy. It's a Plexi. So here's what happened. Dave Friedman is known for the modded Marshall sound. whatever Eddie had, that's what he's going for. Modded, lots of gain, a lot of it done through preamp manipulation and not so much power amp, whereas the PLEXI sound comes from, or super lead, or whatever you want to call them. I'm not a Marshall specialist or the expert in any way. It comes from the power amp, cranking these things up, because back in the day, we had no distortion. What happened is someone had a 100-watt amp because he had to amplify from the stage and crank the shit out of it. Probably Hendrix or one of these guys. And all of a sudden there was some drive because the power amp tubes were like, no, don't do that. And they started to distort or overdrive. And bam, overdrive/distortion was born. Now, Dave has his favorite PLEXI in his studio. Not saying that is the ultimate PLEXI ever. It's just Dave's favorite. And probably maybe a little bit hotter than others because he likes the gain. You know, when you want to go for the Eddie type PLEXI sound, of course, we're talking about not the purest of the purest originals. But that's Dave's favorite PLEXI. Now, he said, I want to make an amp that represents the sound of my favorite PLEXI, and didn't build it verbatim, because you can clearly see it doesn't have the two inputs over there, or four actually, the two input ones and inputs two, because the PLEXI has two volumes, one bright, one normal. And you either go into the bright or the normal, kind of like there were two channels. But then people figured out you could bridge them and then mix them. You know, this automatically is already mixed. So you've got bright and normal, and you can mix. But they've added these bright switches, which means you have added control over how bright each of the channels is. I mean, it's got presence, bass, middle, treble, as an amp has. Very simple. You mix the two volumes, but then it gets really loud because that's what a PLEXI does, because they're volumes, not gains. The effect is gain, but also level. So he added a unique post-phase inverter master volume. Reading is hard. MVC control. This is a unique post-phase inverter master volume. Down is lower overall volume, but why would you want to do that? I have this manual here, first of all, because I don't know crap, and secondly, because it's funny as fuck. So we're gonna read some excerpts from it. So yeah, it lowers the volume. It really doesn't do much here, and then it lowers. So if you want to play this with all its PLEXI goodness at home, or even for a recording session, but you want to lower the master volume, this allows you to do that a bit. It does not have features like an effects loop. If you look in the back, there's nothing. There's speaker outs, power, and then it says, must be earthed, as Leslie pointed out. So, is that grounded? And if it's supposed to be grounded, why are they writing earthed? In Germany, we say erdet, earthed, but it doesn't sound like an English thing. Please, you know, school me on that. I don't know. I say it should probably be grounded. No effects loop because the sound, the drive is happening in the power amp as well. And that means an effects loop placed before the power amp wouldn't have any point because you put your delay and reverb in there and it would still go into the thing that makes distortion and therefore doesn't sound nice. So with an amp like this, giving it an effects loop is kind of pointless. You're going to have to do that post-amp with something like the Variac Power Station up there, where it attenuates the amp. You can then put effects into it and then back into the speaker with the built-in power amp tube thing. So, there's also an HV and an LV. High voltage, low voltage. So down is the Variac mode. I've heard this when people talked about Eddie. He had something built into the amps. Just running the amp or the power amp at lower voltage. I don't know what that means. I really don't. It did things. And we're going to find out if it does things probably more at higher gain settings. Let me read you some excerpts from the manual. It's freaking hilarious. Presence control. High frequency content will not do much with low MBC settings. So if you run it at lower volume, the presence doesn't do much. Bass control. This adds or takes away bass or bottom end. Understandable. Mid control. Adds or takes away mid-range. Start at 6 or 10. Lower settings will scoop the mids. High levels will allow your audience to actually hear the guitar in the mix. Guitar is about mids. Don't scoop them. That's what he's saying. Funny. Volume 1. This is the volume for the lead channel, treble channel. Louder means more gain. I say start at 10. Start at 10, Dave? That's at full volume. No, we don't start there. We gotta ramp up there. Hold your freaking horses. This is the volume 2. This is the volume for the normal channel, bass channel. Can be used to blend with the other channel or with the Strat alone for a fatter, cleaner tone. Start at 0. What is wrong with you? Treble channel all the way. I don't know. So bright switches. Standard style bright amp setup for blending would be volume 2 bright to the center. The center, by the way, is off. I think left is bright 1 and right is bright 2. I hate it on these Friedman products that they don't tell you, off, plus, double plus, off, on, double on, whatever. You have to know that. For me, it would be all the way to the left is off and then more and more. But that's not how they work, which is totally fine, but the panel should tell you. And I've told them a million times, they ignore me, which is fine. No brand needs to do what I would like, but then they have to sit through this bit of the video where I bitch about it every single time. Just saying, okay? So, on, more, and even more. Volume 2 in the middle, and volume 1 all the way to the right. That seems way too bright, but okay. Also, with more bright comes higher gain. If you want to run it really at low gain, you have to figure it out. Less brightness, I think. Input high, input low. Just like it says. These are input jacks. Pick high or low sensitivity, your choice. This is where you insert your guitar cable if you want to hear the darn thing. I love that that's funny. And here we go, with the Strat and a Synergy cab, which is technically a Friedman cab, but it says Synergy on it. I think that's loaded with V30s, if I'm not mistaken. And we're miking it with a Shure SM57 and a Roya R10 ribbon mic in the correct positions. And off we go. I have a pedal board in front of me. Nothing is on. There's a Tube Screamer. There's an Archer, which is a clone. There's a power supply. There's a Galaxy tape echo. We're going to use that for the cleans. And that's it. That's very bright. This is a Macmull S Classic. He wants it here? I mean, it's not horrible. I'm also in the low input, by the way. So let's do this 0 here. What's great about the PLEXI is you got these amazing spanky cleans, sparkling, and they're just at the edge of too much. Obviously, I can dial that in with this one, but that's what I love about this thing. get the bright down. Let's do this with channel 2, which should be March Rounder. It's the only thing I can play. Or this. If I kick that full on with the Tube Screamer, ooh, that's kind of neat. That's kind of Eric Johnson-y. Mids. Nice option tonally there. I like it. What if we kick the... Let's do this again. Kick the drive up more. The bridge, the bright. I'm happy! That was the Tube Screamer. Let's turn the Tube Screamer off here. Okay, I don't what options. Let's mix both of them. Here-ish, right in the middle. Now, everything is up. I mean, we can't go more up. We're gonna go into the high. I'm gonna kick in the Troop Screamer. This is how far I can push it with a vintage-voiced Strat, but obviously there's more. Now, just like the McMull was one of the finest specimens of the Strat in the stratosphere, this Panucci is one of the finest Les Pauls in the Les Paulosphere. And that's what you pair with one of the finest amps in the Plexosphere. While you're watching this. So, gonna get this down a bit. Nothing on, but just dandy sounds. I have a feeling the more you push the bright, the brighter it gets, but then the more you push the gain, the less that affects it. That's way too much, but that's not so bad now. There's a percussiveness and a clarity to it that's just beautiful. And honestly, no modeler in the room with any FR and whatever will ever sound like that. That is ridiculous. That is pretty damn impressive. I mean, I'm cranking the shit out of it. Both brightnesses are in. There's a lot of variations. I don't know how much the tone stack cranked up will add to the gain here. Not that much, really. Let's see what the Variac will do. I might not even notice the difference because I'm not a guy that knows these things. I think we dropped a bit of top end and it got more mushy. And it's doing all of this massive gainage with really very, very little noise in between. I mean, I have P90s here, which are different pickups. If I kick that in with a Troop Screamer, I mean... Okay, people, stand by. Come on! What I noticed when I started playing this, actually months ago when it arrived, I played more unhinged. I played wilder. I played more rock and roll. I played stuff that was dirty and filthier. It brought out a different kind of player out of me. I was improvising for hours over elevated jam tracks, and I noticed that I was playing different things. I love the cleans. This with a Strat in the in-between position, you can get amazing cleans with all the sparkle and stuff. Obviously in the current setting, I don't even have the normal in there. Holy shit balls, is it all rock and roll and you put a tube screamer in front of it and then it gets a little bit more dense and smooth. Learning the interaction, it's a little bit difficult. The interaction between two volumes, which are actually also gains, and 2-3 position bright switches, which the more gain you give it, the less brightness they do, but they do add gain. And then the two different inputs, low and high. Also the Variac with the high voltage and low voltage. Learning this stuff and knowing exactly what sound you have in your head and how to get it from it. That's a challenge. For me, it's more you dial it in and then you're reacting to it. I think over time, I will find exactly how to set it up based on what I have in my head. At the moment, I'm reacting more to the amp than setting it up in a way that I need it for a certain application. In a studio situation, I need to set it up for a certain application. But when you're writing, the amp kind of guiding you towards something that you didn't even know that you wanted to go there, that's magic, that's music, that's something AI can't do. That's something that modelers have a hard time doing. On a modeler, you're like, I want that sound, you get that sound. And they're doing it pretty damn good nowadays. But the road less traveled, that gets you the magic of some of those old bands that just were guided by the amps, that's what the Friedman Vintage, the new line, Plex does. It is not cheap. In Europe, it clocks in at 3,300 euro, I think. That is quite pricey for a one-channel amp. It is on par with quite a few other PLEXI-style amps, whether it be Bogner, Metropolis, oh my god, and there's all these others that do these in super high quality. This now is one of them, and I really like the simple input structure, and then doing it, bridging it internally and doing it with the bright switches. It's a slightly different approach, but Dave fucking knows what he's doing and he knew it right there. If you're interested in that, please use my links below. Go check it out in the different stores. Go in the store, play it. With these things, you could even order it, play it, send it back. So whatever I said is completely inconsequential. If you don't like it, you don't like it. I like it and I'm keeping it. I put links below. Please use them. That really helps me. And animals at the end, as always.